You've gone from choir competitions and singing a cappella covers in your home onto festival slots, headline shows, radio appearances, showcases across Ireland, and an upcoming international circuit. You've explored entrepreneurialism in running your own shop, you're currently hosting your own radio show, and have recently launched your second album, Divine Intervention. Ciara, the beautiful imagery and soulful lyricism in your music, coupled with your passion and incredible work ethic, is truly inspiring. And I'm looking forward to discussing all of this and more with you, but first, take me right back to the beginning. What was growing up like for Ciara Lawless?
Yeah, so I guess growing up, my mum and dad actually weren't like big music fans. It was actually my grandmother who like heavily influenced that. And so like born in Dublin, my mum was from Wicklow, dad was living in Roscommon. So we lived actually in Wicklow for about the first 2 years of my life, and then we moved down. Obviously the farm was in Roscommon, so that's where they built the house. But I spent every single summer with my grandmother, and like she loved music. She was in the Vocal band and she played accordion there.
Nice.
So she tried teaching me piano and accordion and stuff. And I guess it wasn't until I was in actually an accident when I was 6 that I guess I kind of had that experience where I felt like I'm meant to do music, and I kind of leaned in on music. It was kind of a miracle that occurred, I suppose. So that's where I started to like fall into music.
Okay, well, so it was your relationship with your grandmother that would have kind of sparked your passion for music. Okay, well, very, very cool. And then, do you remember what your first public performance was?
I guess, oh my God, let me think. It would have been probably, I would have done like a lot of competitions when I was in school and stuff. So I know I did Sligo Festival. There was ones in Roscommon as well, but kind of one of the pinnacle ones I remember was in school I got cast in The Lion King.
Oh, cool.
So I got to play the role of Rafiki, which is like a singing baboon, which is kind of cool. But I think that was the moment where I went, wow, I really love this. And we were singing things like The Circle of Life, and I guess you kind of go to a different place, I think, in yourself when you're like, theatre brings out in so much in you. I find it like you dive into like, it's hard. Like you're dancing, you're acting, you're singing, and I joined different stage schools at the time, but that would probably be the most memorable performance.
Okay.
Yeah.
As Rafiki in The Lion King.
Yeah.
I can see it actually. You make a great Rafiki.
Yeah, I have to say I absolutely loved it.
Cool, very cool. And how old were you at the time?
I was 15.
15? Oh, okay. So it was a second school production of The Lion King. Ah, cool.
Yeah.
Very, very cool.
So I really love that now.
Oh, okay. But then there was a lot of kind of the smaller competition leading up to that point, the Sligo one. And
yeah, it was before as well, like that would have been before any kind of training and stuff. Okay. I think, I remember the song was like an Irish song, I think in national school, about 10, I think it was Peggy Litchermore or something, and I think it was in Irish, like there was clapping and stuff, and I got second place, I think, or something in that, so. But yeah, I was always kind of singing, but didn't really kind of start to take it serious and go into studying it really till I was about 15.
Okay, and was that the same time that you joined the stage schools at 15, or was that a little earlier?
Same time.
Same time. Oh, okay, very cool.
I had been like, my mom had me in like, other kind of things when I was younger and dancing and stuff like that. But kind of where I think I was aware of like what I was doing, I think was when I was about 15, 16. I went to different local stage schools and kind of, started taking it more seriously at that point.
Okay, very cool.
Yeah.
Do you remember what the first song you'd written was?
I guess when you're like going through different experiences, music kind of became my healing and my therapy. So I kind of probably started scribbling on paper when I was 11. Nothing real, really there, like bits of melodies, bits of lyrics. But I think it was called Kaleidoscope, I think was the first song I wrote.
Cool.
And I was about 15. Yeah,
15.
I got it recorded, so.
And you got it recorded as well? Oh, okay, cool.
No, you can't find it. It's gone off the internet.
Importantly though, do you have a copy of it?
Yeah.
Good. That's the most important thing. No, it's good to have a catalogue of your own music as well, and I think it's great to be able to look back on your own work like that too, and even, I know you're kind of have a bit of a laugh about even the title and stuff, but it's a reflection of that period of your life and how you're going through, what you were going through at that time. So it's great to have that catalogue, and even, I don't know when the last time you dug out Kaleidoscope was, but maybe after this you look back and go, you know what, Jesus, I actually enjoyed that song. Do you know?
Yeah.
So that's very cool. I'm glad to have it as well. I've all kinds of little memorabilia from my own life. Who knows, I might set up a museum one day, we'll see. Tell me about the first time you performed your own music in front of an audience.
I guess that would have been probably one of the first festivals I think I was performing at.
Okay.
And that's fairly recent as well, because up until that kind of point I'd been writing and stuff, but like a lot of things happened between, we'll say 2018 and 2022. So I kind of started like back properly there was a bit of a break and I was doing different things between then, with flower shops and stuff. But I guess 2022, that's when I'd kind of consider the music that I would say is like mature and that I've kind of spent a lot of time writing. That's kind of when I was back performing that. It would have been, I think, at Lovestock Festival.
At Lovestock? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. And what did the lead up of that moment look like for you? To go out on a stage and like, this is my music that I'm performing. Were you nervous? Or was it kind of like, I'm ready for this? Or how did it feel?
I think maybe when you like, obviously when you write music and you're singing it in your room and then you go and get it recorded and it's starting to feel more real, but it's only when you go out into the stage and you perform it for people and maybe you tell the story behind it, that's when I think things become very real. And there can be a little mixture of nerves, but I think I was just really excited, because I had been so long kind of waiting for that moment. So when it came, I think I was just so excited, really, to be honest.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. And was there a moment where you felt you were ready to showcase your own music to the world? Was it like, I've been doing this for so long, I've been writing this for so long, now's the time? Was it like a kind of a switch moment for you where like you knew that you were ready, or was it just, let's just go out there and see what happens?
I feel like maybe I should go back probably and tell the story what happened at 6 years of age, but I've always had this feeling throughout my life that I'm meant to do this. But again, like like things happen in life, I suppose, and you drift here and you're kind of sometimes pulled in different directions, and sometimes you have to just flow with that. I think the journey of any artist anyway is to kind of have a little bit of that hero sense. The journey, you'll go through different experiences, they'll break you, they'll put you back together, and I think that's where you derive a lot of your writing experience from, and it definitely helps you, you know, write material. And I think I was just always working my way up to that point. Maybe I should tell you what happened when I was
If you don't
6.
mind, actually, you said it was an accident, so I wasn't too sure
no,
whether...
you're okay. So basically grew up on a farm. My dad would have had a quarry at the time, and I, very bold at the age of 6, I snuck out of the back garden, went under the hedge. I brought a skipping rope with me at the time and a hula hoop. I used to watch High Five, and I had this vision. I was like, I want to swing. I know, it's a long one. And there was a girl in it, I can't remember her name, it was Casey or something. Anyway, she used to have a big hula hoop swing from the ceiling. And of course I wanted to swing, and my parents said at the time, no, wait till Santa brings it for you. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to create this myself. So I saw an opportunity, and there was these big, they're like screening gates that kind of cover in a washer for like the crushes rock and washes rock and stuff. And they were up at the very, very, very far of the field, and I should not have gotten up there, but I did. And walked up there, and I was looking at the first one, and like these are steel, like they're not lifted in by people, they're lifted in by machinery. So you know they're you shouldn't be near them. And anyway, I went up and I tried to swing, and I was like, no, this one's not tall enough. So I went for the bigger one. And whatever way I threw up the hula hoop, I actually managed to pull the whole thing down on top of myself. And it sliced right through my leg, breaking all the major bones, the tibia, the fibula, and something else. Like everything was broken. It was just skin keeping everything together.
Wow.
And so I was probably unconscious for about 20 minutes. And then I woke up and I was looking around, and there was nobody around. And then eventually I saw my granddad in a distance wheeling the wheelbarrow out of the yard. And he was deaf at the time. He didn't have any hearing aids or anything in. So it was crazy. So I'm there screaming his name. Now, bear in mind, he always said to me afterwards, he's like, I never heard you, but something made me turn around. So he turns around, sees me from a distance, comes running over, tries to lift it up, can't lift it up. And then he looks up to the sky and goes, good God, give me strength. And then he just reaches down and lifts it up and pulls me out. And at that moment, I kind of felt like I was given like a second chance at life, and that I'm here for a reason, kind of a thing. So I've like, that's carried me throughout life. So the next 6 months then was spent like serious operations, and then in and out of hospital. I couldn't walk, and was like, you know, casts and everything. So that's when I like fell into music, and I was watching musicals all the time, and Granny came down to help and stuff, and was like trying to get me at instruments and stuff. So that's kind of been my driving force all my life. I've kind of leaned into that spiritual world and trusted that my intuition was kind of guiding me in different directions. And sometimes my logical mind would go, oh, this is what you should do. I would just lean into that intuition and go with it. So that's why I think it's taken me to this point, 2025, where I have the second album out now. I had a few years there to work through it.
Wow,
so
jeez.
that's
Okay, wow, that's absolutely incredible. And I mean, like, obviously for a 6-year-old to go through something like that, I am sorry that happened to you. That being said, it seems like it was such a pivotal moment, and one of those kind of, it's sad that it happened, but maybe it was meant to happen kind of things. And even as well, the the recovery process for that, I mean, my God, like to completely shatter and destroy your legs like that, and Jesus Christ, I can't even imagine what that looked like. But then to have music and to have that support structure from your family and from your grandmother as well, I'm sure provided such a great distraction from that. And then also being taught music as well, I'm sure was such a relief to be, because I know myself, like I'm a very active person. I like being out. The thought of breaking my legs terrifies me, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just imagining myself in that situation, and I'd be extremely grateful to be able to have that kind of support network. So it's, yeah, incredible. And thank you for sharing that with us as well, because that's unbelievable. That's absolutely unbelievable.
Yeah, so I guess that's the thing, and like a lot of my music is inspired by spirituality and nature and things like that, because I truly believe something, like, I don't know which is the miracle really in that, what made him turn around and see me, or was it him lifting it up? So it's always kind of like, if he didn't turn around.
Yeah, of course.
I've always, but the next day the guys went out to try and move the stuff and they couldn't lift it.
It's like, how
that
did
was
your
several men
granddad do
together,
that? Yeah.
you know, so
Wow.
it's yeah, so I've always believed that. So I guess I've always kind of just trusted that when the time is right, everything will kind of fall into place. I know that sounds kind of crazy because I work quite hard at everything, but like, yeah, that's kind of I just trust. That's yeah.
No, of course.
So.
And see, that's the other thing too, is you do work extremely hard in what you do. Like, you're not just, sure, we'll leave it up to the fairies and we'll see what happens. Like, it's it's, I think, very natural to have that level of to trust in that level of intuition and lean into that spirituality side of things as well, but you back it up with the work that you do too. Like, you're not just, like I said, we'll see what happens. It's, no, I'm going to work so that trusting my intuition will pay off. So it's really, really incredible, and yeah, you're an absolute grafter. And tough as nails. Are you still as bold as you are when it comes to throwing hoops over and climbing and exploring?
I just say this to people, my surname is Lawless, so I kind of feel like I follow suit with that. But I think with the music industry anyway, I think you have to be. Like, it's crazy. Any of the art scenes, really, any of the art world, you keep putting yourselves out there, and you'll keep getting rejected, and you'll keep trying new different ways, and you'll keep getting rejected.
Absolutely.
But it's almost like, I feel like when you have a love and a passion for something, there's nothing that can knock you with it.
Yeah.
If you just have to keep believing and keep going with things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. So then, if someone was to get started off in their own musical journey with being a singer-songwriter, what avenues can they take, or what advice would you give them?
I would say first off, maybe look into like collaborating and educating yourself on the industry. Like, things that I looked at doing when I was 18 and 19, as I discovered a music conference in the south of France called Meetum. So I remember just flying over there, and like, I wanted to learn about copywriting, I wanted to learn about trademarking, I wanted to learn about all music things that related that I didn't know, because I had heard, like, watched YouTube videos. YouTube was big in as well. I know it's always big, but particularly I used to love watching all these like podcasts about music and all different things. And I remember they were saying, I can't remember which podcast specifically, but it was like, if you want to learn about the industry, put yourself where the industry is. So I was looking up all these music conferences. I was like, yeah, I want to go there. And then I was like writing out my little manifestation list. So I put Medium there. And then I put the NAMM Music Show LA. And I didn't know how it was all going to happen. So I had all these little things on my list, and booked the flights, went over to Medium, like, learned a lot, went around to the conferences and slowly kind of networked. And that's kind of how you learn. And you meet interesting people and you collaborate. I ended up on a songwriting camp held by a record label in Galway, the record label based in America, and like, I got to collaborate with really good songwriters that had like 20 and 30 years experience, because I do think it's important to collaborate and learn from others. All it can ever do really is strengthen your own material. Whether or not you put out them songs and release them, I think we should put ourselves with people that have more experience than us to be able to learn from them and to grow your own material. So yeah, collaborated with them and learned so much. So yeah, I've just been constantly kind of immersing myself. I think for anyone that's watching this right now and you're starting from scratch, do your research. Like, we've no excuse. We have access to the best technology. Everything's out there. Like, back in the 80s and the 70s, they didn't have all of this. And could you imagine like how many musicians back then that are probably, were sitting in their bedrooms, who could be huge international stars right now if they had the platforms that we have. So I guess utilize what you have, use the skills that you have, and then the pitfalls, maybe if it's the business side of things, learn, go out and experience. And yeah, I think you have to be able to, like at 18, sometimes you think you know it all. I think I thought I was a lot wiser than I was. Maybe I did know a lot in that moment, I don't know. But and now I learn, I'm like, I know nothing. Like, I learn every single day. So I think it's the other side of it is to know that there's always more to learn.
Yeah.
And to listen to people.
No, that's absolutely very solid advice. And I think it's very cool for an 18-year-old who ultimately is so young. I know myself when I was 18, I was like, I know exactly what I'm going to do. But to have that recognition of, no, there is things that I can improve upon. And I think your approach to it was so clever, where it was just a total immersion. And like, go to exactly what you said, go to where it is. And it wasn't even just on the music side of things, it was the whole background of it as well. Like, it was like I said, the business side of it, I suppose. So yeah, no, that's very, very solid advice and a very good approach to starting off as well. Because it's also accepting the fact that you don't know everything, which is hard to do sometimes.
Absolutely.
So we'll come back to your music in a few moments, but I would like to discuss your stint as an entrepreneur. So I believe you were 20 years old when you were running your own shop, is that right?
Yeah.
So what was the shop and what led you down that route?
Good question. I think I often ask myself this, but I guess I was just, to put it simply, following my intuition. I was very lucky I did, because I managed to set it up. It was actually 2019, and I just turned, was it 2019? Yeah, it was 2019, and I just turned 20, and it was in August 2019, and I set up the first one in Banagher.
And sorry, what was the shop?
It was a flower store.
Flower store.
Flower store. And I actually had a little coffee dock in there as well.
Ah, cool.
Yeah,
Nice.
because I was obsessed with coffee. So I went on different coffee courses and stuff. And I was like, yeah, I need to have coffee. Wherever I go, I'll have to have a coffee machine there. So I had that installed. And I just felt intuitively guided to do it. It wasn't kind of now I was very lucky, like I've grown up in a business background.
Yeah.
So I had that. My mother was also a florist. I had grown up with her, spending all my summers training, and she sent me to volunteer there and to learn and experience things. So I had all that behind me, but it was really just an intuition thing. And I was very lucky because a few months later, the pandemic happened.
Oh,
And I was able to work behind closed doors and continue on.
Yes.
And I pivoted at that point. So I went from singing kind of, trying to get out there with the original music to like singing for funerals. And I actually really enjoyed it, believe it or not. I found I could have amazing experiences. Like one time I was singing and a little butterfly came down and landed on my microphone. And then another time it was like whatever way the light hit in, and I just would have these ecstatic moments. And it also was quite a special thing because funerals were reduced to maybe like 6 to 8 people.
Yeah, of course.
So you'd be part of a ceremony. I'll never forget one time there was a man that was from America, but his family couldn't travel. There was like something wrong there, and I was the only one with my accompanist at the whole funeral.
Wow.
So it was like it was a really strange time, I think, in some ways, but it's when it really, I felt like I was part of something special. So I really enjoyed that. And then I was working away at the flower store, working quite hard though. It was like 7 days a week open.
Yeah.
And I threw myself into it. So I think in some aspects, when people had that I never had that lockdown experiences, and I was constantly going. I was delivering, and I was making up stuff, and it was really busy.
Yeah, and especially around that time too, a lot of flower shops did do quite well because it was a way of connecting with people and showing that, well, here's a little thing for you, and I can't go out and deliver it yourself, but there's sentimentality to it as well. How did you get involved with the singing at funerals?
That was kind of just, I think, looking back, I think it was first it was a family funeral, and then what happened was I got roped into to do a friend of a friend's funeral.
Okay.
And then it just kind of just started happening, and then I was getting asked, would you sing at this funeral, and then it just kind of, it's just singing funerals, then it kind of just rippled out. But I felt really honoured to have been asked, and I kind of leaned into my classical and operatic training as well because I think hymns are some beautiful melodies. There's beautiful melodies and powerful lyrics. I think in a lot of hymns we probably underestimate, I think.
No, for sure.
But yeah, I just really enjoyed it. So it just kind of started to spiral. I suppose word of mouth kind of goes around. I never really advertised. It just kind of, it happened, and then I'd be doing the flowers, and then maybe I'd be singing.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
It is a massive honour to be part of such an occasion like that as well, because obviously it's quite sad, but I think having a musical accompaniment to it, and it is still hymns, and it is still part of the process, part of the ceremony, but it does make it just that little bit special. And I think it is another little element of, it's a good send-off, I think.
Yeah.
And
it's a celebration of life, isn't it?
Absolutely, exactly. Yeah. It's a celebration of life. So it's really cool. It's a very, very cool thing to be part of. And not something I've actually particularly heard of outside of you doing it yourself. So, congratulations! I'm delighted someone like yourself who actually isn't just I'm gonna go out and sing a few tunes. It's like it's you actually
no.
care. Like,
Oh
it's,
yeah. Like I
you-
took it really I remember actually recently sung at a funeral a few months ago as well, and they chose Super Trooper. I thought that was like, I think there was another one, My Way, Frank Sinatra. I was like,
Nice.
oh, that's kind of cool. I was like, yeah. There was some other unusual ones, like there's a Eurovision one in there as well, and I was just like, it sound like they picked songs that I'd never thought would.
Yeah.
But like, isn't it amazing that they were like, well, this is what
That was that
these
person.
songs touched them. Yeah.
Cool. Just kind of touching back onto the flower shop side of things. Do you miss running your own business?
There's a true saying. Because my mum is still running the flower shop. Like, I kind of, in some aspects, even though I feel like I've left it, I haven't, because it's still happening in my surroundings.
Yeah.
Naturally enough, you'll always get pulled in on the busy occasions. Like, I don't really have a Christmas Eve. I still don't have a Valentine's Day, and I still don't have a Mother's Day. Like,
Yeah,
I
good
will
luck.
always be roped in. I always say to her, I was like, I can imagine myself, I said, maybe walking out on a big stage somewhere, and you'll call me and say, are you coming in tomorrow for Mother's Day? That's my visions of all these things.
Just don't book
But-
any festivals around those times.
I'm just like, no. Yeah, so I think, I feel like I'm kind of still half in it, even though I'm not really. But it was meant to happen at that time, and I learned so much. Like, they're transferable skills. I think this is the
Absolutely.
thing, like, growing up, I might not necessarily have had those skills naturally, but, working there, I was able to work on them, and then you bring them into the music side, because if you don't have your head screwed on you in the music business, you will quickly kind of, that you have to know about contracts. There's loads of things you can kind of get yourself tied up in, and I think if you really want your art to get out there, you have to know how to market it.
Yeah,
And art
absolutely.
is not something that comes natural,
No.
especially if you're like, I'm actually introverted, and I probably come across, I think, to a lot of people maybe extroverted from the radio and being out and about with people all the time, but that's something I've had to get myself comfortable with.
I'd just like to take a brief moment to thank Pausa Caffe for helping support the creation of the artist journey. Without their support, we wouldn't have a location to film in, so please show them some love by heading to their Instagram page. And for the best coffee and lunch served by the friendliest staff, you can visit their locations on Townsend Street in Dublin 2 and Berkeley Road, Dublin 1, where this show is filmed. Thanks, Pausa. And back to the show. So, I have had the pleasure of working with you before. I was organising the launch of your debut album, Paint My Soul, in the Cobblestone in Smithfield. It was such a fun night and incredible to see you perform live with a band backing you, and the album itself is an uplifting, beautiful piece of work, and I do highly recommend people check it out if they haven't already. So talk to me a bit about the songwriting process for your debut album in particular. I know we have some songs in the drawer, but did you have an idea of how it was going to be structured, or did you have a catalogue of songs and needed to pick and choose and compile them into this particular body of work?
I think the difference is going to be between the second album and the first album is I know what I'm doing now. I was just going in like, I've written this song, I'm going to get it recorded. Okay. This is where you need a manager as well, because I had kind of started the recording process not having a plan,
Okay.
to be very honest. And that's where the manager comes in, put the plan in place and go, okay, I'm like happy with this, we're going to go with this. So again, I was writing from experiences that I had between 2020 or even 2019 and 2022, and I had recovered from an eating disorder as well, so like a lot of healing. I was talking through that process and therapies, and I poured a lot of that kind of into music. And then I was also at the time looking at Irish Celtic mythology and Greek mythology, and I was looking for, if you look at the stories and the powerful women in these stories, and I looked to them for inspiration. I was fascinated by their stories and their characteristics, and I wanted to embody them. So for example, I Am Your Healer was heavily inspired by Queen Maeve and the goddess Bridget as well.
Okay, cool.
Queen Maeve is kind of from Roscommon there. Rathcron is very popular there, and the cave and things like that. It was touring around there at the time as well, and I was fascinated by the stories, and I just wanted to be like those women. So I kind of started writing I Am Your Healer, standing in front of the mirror, kind of chanting those affirmations: I am your healer, your goddess, your medicine woman. Let my love in. And it was about self-love. And when singing that song now hits differently, because back when I started writing it, while I was very confident as a performer, I didn't have that inner confidence and that inner self-esteem. So now to performing it, having both in balance, it's like that's the whole journey of that album, is like learning to love yourself and learning to be inspired by things and diving into spirituality and healing and all those aspects. So the songs on the album, there's like, I think in some aspects, I know she'd agree with me on this, it could be 3 albums together because I was still exploring my sound and the direction that I'm going in. So yeah, there was also co-writes as well on the album.
Okay.
Yeah, there was actually Where Are Your Wings is written by Oisín.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was funny because I think he wrote that in 1999, and he showed me this song, and he said, Ciara, I said, I've held this in a drawer for 24 years. He said, you're 24 now and it's 2024. I'd love if you would consider singing this song. I remember reading it and I was like, this is beautiful lyrics, and then finding out the actual meaning behind the song. And I was like, God, that's powerful meaning, message. I was like, I'd love to sing this song. Is it okay if I have it on the album? And he was like, yeah, it's yours if you want it. And it had been recorded several times in different places and never released. And I decided to record it and put on the album and add it to other songs that I had there myself. And so yeah, the album was kind of a collection of like, talking about spirituality, healing, experiences I went through, relationship breakups. There was a whole load of different things that filtered into the album. So yeah, I think it was a great exploration, and I think in your 20s you're doing so much searching, so I feel like in the album it has those themes in there. Yeah.
Okay, cool, nice. That's really nice. And I didn't realise it had such a... Well, I think what can happen a lot of times with our creation from the artist, there is an element of catharsis to it, but it really does seem like that it, you know, like I said, you kind of had that outer confidence, but it seems like the whole process of it from start to finish solidified you throughout, you know, which is a really beautiful thing, I think, and I think it reflects nicely in the music as well. And having a bit more of an understanding of the process, having listened to the album a bunch of times myself, to be quite honest, it does kind of hit a little bit differently. So like that is cool to be able to get a bit of behind the scenes on that.
Yeah.
And then watching you perform the album, The Cobblestone, you brought so much energy and presence to the stage, and that's just with your own music, but you're also a singer in a wedding band. And while I haven't seen you perform in that capacity, I'm sure it demands a lot of your energy as well. So do you have any pre-show rituals to prepare yourself for performing?
Yeah, I could say though I kind of stole this one.
Borrowed.
Borrowed, yeah, but no, it's totally stolen. Ciara Lawless, she's an amazing classical singer, and she would have been in Phantom of the Opera and everything on the West End, and
Wow.
I got to see her perform live and stuff, and like, I just loved her music. I idolised her growing up, and she had an amazing mantra, and I kind of, at 16, I kind of copped onto this, and I started kind of using it, and it was, I am enough, I am so enough, it's unbelievable how enough I am. And so actually...
Say that for me again?
I am enough, I am so enough, it is unbelievable how enough I am.
I love that.
And so so every time I would go out, I was there with my water and my straw, because I love blowing bubbles actually in water is amazing for your voice.
Okay, well.
Yeah, it's like the best things ever because it warms up the muscles in the throat and everything. So I'd be there in my head, do I have enough food? I go out on stage. But still to this day, I will say that. And like or else another one I'll just think of when I'm going to sing about, like, I'm singing to God, and so God loves me, so like that's actually like honestly the mindset in me when I'm going out on stage, and I just want, you know, people to have fun and to enjoy themselves. So yeah, I kind of feel like I've lost the nerves when I get out there now. It's more of like, I'm so excited, I'm so blessed to get to do this, and I am enough and I can do it. So that's
and you just embrace it wholly.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's so cool. I love that.
Yeah.
So when you're blowing the bubbles, is it to the tune of "I am enough"? I'm so enough.
In my mind, yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh. It's not me, is it?
That's actually me. That shouldn't be happening. Sorry.
That's a blessing. Something about this dry as fuck. The artist journey is proudly in support of the Safe Gigs Ireland initiative. Safe Gigs Ireland is all about safety at live events. That means we want to keep them free from any kind of abuse, be it racial or sexual, and we advocate for anti-spiking as well. For more information, like tips on staying safe at live events, please visit safegigs.ie. How does it feel to come off stage after a show, whether it's for your own music or for a wedding? Like after putting so much into it, I know you said that you're past the point where nerves don't get you, but how does it feel to come off stage then?
It takes a while to kind of come down because you are on this adrenaline. But I'm very lucky because I looked into meditation back throughout the pandemic and kind of worked on that. Like when I get back from a gig, maybe it's like one of the wedding band gigs or something, I'll get home and I'll do a meditation and I'll be able to go to sleep. Otherwise I'd be up I'd probably be up all night because I'm not getting back till like 3 and 4 a.m. From those gigs. So like it's it's very late. So meditation is the best thing. But I come off the stage and I'm very excited and you're buzzing and stuff and yeah.
Well, it's good to have that energy as well to take you home after a wedding because, like I said, it'd be quite late finishing off, I'd imagine. So that's okay. So meditation is your route to kind of decompress and get rid of all that adrenaline that's obviously coursing through you.
I listen to all like choral music on the way home in the car like 3 in the morning because like anything else would like I would just pop. It's just like
let's just take it down.
Take it down. Tchaikovsky there. It's funny. Yeah.
So you clearly take so much enjoyment out of performing. You can see that when you're on stage as well. Like I think it's one of the things that I love at a good performance is when you can tell that the artist is enjoying themselves so much, and I've seen that in you because you've done a solo gig for me as well in Fibbers, and I've seen you do the band as well. There are two different buzzes, but both of which you were so engrossed in, and you could really feel the music because you could feel the music. So then, in your own opinion, what makes a good gig for you?
I particularly love when I can just focus on the singing.
Okay.
Because I don't know, I do this when I'm talking as well. I use my hands a lot. Like I feel like I'm communicating with them or something. It's my own like sign language. But yeah, I love to be able to move on stage. So I prefer when I don't have to play the piano or the guitar. So I can just move around and flow with the music. And I think, again, it's like the mantra, if I set myself up well before I go out on the stage, and I think it's important as well to, make sure the sound is good, make sure you've communicated across with sound check and all of that.
Absolutely.
And and I'm using inner ears an awful lot more as well. So
How do you find that inner ears? I've never had to use them myself, but in my own head, I find it kind of distracting, I think, but having not used them. So how do inner ears feel to you, having gone from not using them to using them?
Yeah, I feel like at the beginning I hated them. Yeah, be honest, I didn't like them at all. And then the more I got used to them now, I love having them because I can hear everything. I can hear the drums properly. I can hear the guitar. I can hear everything together. And I think you can. More
Okay,
focused,
so just in case there is anybody who hasn't used them before, the inner ears are, you can hear what the sound engineer can hear. You can hear how the music is coming in. Would I be correct in saying that?
Yeah, and you can also as well. You can tell as well what everyone's hearing out there. I think as well how everything's mixed well and stuff.
Okay, cool. So it's I haven't used them before, but that was always a question I wanted to ask somebody, and I kept forgetting to do it. So I'm glad I had the opportunity to do that with yourself. So clearly, you're so dedicated to being a full-time musician. I mean, you've but you've moved aside from the entrepreneurial side, running your own shop, and are going completely headfirst into all this and doing it the right way to add as well. But you were pursuing a music career in Ireland, so I'm curious, how would you describe the music scene in Ireland?
I think I would say it's the music scene outside of Dublin and the music scene in Dublin. There's a lot happening up here. I would say, I'm living in Athlone, Roscommon kind of area, so it's all travelling. Yeah. It's always travelling to either Dublin, or I'm travelling to Limerick, or I'm travelling to Galway. But I wouldn't say we're in the local area where I'm from unless you're traditional music or, there's a huge scene in this. I suppose Irish people love Irish country music. They love trad. There's a lot of, platforms there for people to perform. But I think if it's pop or anything alternative to that, maybe if it's jazz or anything like that, I feel like you do have to travel.
Okay.
You do absolutely have to travel. But I think there is an incredible amount of talent in this country. Yeah. It's mind-blowing. And I think we're only touching the tip of the iceberg. I think there's still a lot of others that are kind of quietly in the corner and you wouldn't know, and they're unbelievable. But I think it's evident as well when you see Irish artists like CMAT, Hosier. There's so many incredibly talented ones. Even from the radio perspective, when I'm getting really press releases, I'm just blown away by how much music is being created and the quality that it's coming in at, and there's so many amazing talent. I think there's a real strong opportunity to think for a lot of Irish artists, and I think the more we see open mic nights being created and independent music nights and raise the bar events, all these promoters and different things coming together, I think we need it. I think there's a platform there for it. I do think there's an opportunity for a lot of changing in attitudes and minds towards you know, going and supporting artists, because I do think communities really have to focus in on supporting as much as they can. I think we're going to see this in Ireland anyway, you know, financially, with everything that's going on in the world, people are going to have to come together more. We are going to have to look at the local level of supporting artists. If you look at mental health and all these things at the moment, I think the only way to tackle a lot of these areas is to kind of come together. I think that's the beautiful thing about music, is it brings people together.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, and I think with everything going on, there's going to be amazing art created out of it.
Cool. No, I absolutely couldn't agree more. And I think it's interesting to hear your perspective as well from someone, like, I mean, you're living in the Midlands, and while I do love the fact that there is still that space for musicians to go out and play, whether it's trad sessions in pubs, I think it can perhaps be quite limiting. So it's interesting to hear that perspective directly from somebody who is kind of living that, and it is a lot of travelling. Now, luckily, Ireland is a relatively small country in the grand scheme of things.
We do complain about the hour trip though. I had visitors over from New York recently, and like, they were like, everything's so nearby here. They're like, you know, they were driving from Dublin to Sligo nearly every day, and I was like, for us that's like a monumental
That's
trip.
a hoof.
But it's like, you know, so we are, I guess it's not like ridiculously far, like, you know, like 6-hour journeys over there, which is crazy.
But still, though, it's that community aspect of it. Like, you want that community support. You want that opportunity, whether you're in Athlone, Roscommon, or anywhere else that isn't Dublin, Cork, Galway, Limerick.
I think so.
You want that ability to be able to perform your craft and to get that support from your craft as well.
I should probably give a shout out as well. There was an amazing festival that happened back in April called Creelor.
Okay.
I think that's the heart of the Midlands. I think that's the meaning of that. But it was amazing because they had a lot of independent local artists performing, and they went to different venues throughout the town. So
cool.
You can see how that's going to continue to grow and grow and grow. And they had an amazing reception. It was organised as well by a lot of young people, and it was amazing to see that start off. So I think that'll start kind of this momentum, getting other towns to do things similar. Instead of having a big festival in the field, they went to the local venues. They went to where the local music scene was. They went to the local churches and had them as music halls, and it was really well done. So I think hopefully that if that can continue to spiral and to have that every year, I think in the Midlands we're very lucky. No. But we need these platforms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. Was that held in one town? Was in
Athlone.
In Athlone, okay. Yeah. So you said it was hosted in multiple venues. So would that be, there's a gig going on in the church coincide with a gig going on in the nightclub coincide with a gig going on? Like, was it all happening at the same time? Or?
All happening in the town over 3 days, Friday to Sunday. Wow. And of course we had the amazing weather as well. No one was expecting it. Like, it was like Spain. It was amazing. Perfect timing for it, like really good timing. And like they'd have, like, you know, like for example, they had some of the local pubs there. They had one of the local hotels where the nightclub is. They had churches. They had other venues, like they had a mindfulness section as well. Nice. But again, they were in a lot of yoga centres and places where people of mindfulness would go. They had the events there. And then places where people wanted kind of more spiritual music, they had them in the church. And like, it was just extremely well organised, and there was something there for everybody. But what was even better, I think, was it was supporting local businesses. So they were benefit obviously from, if there was drinks sold, it was sold within the premises. And again, like local restaurants, cafes, everyone benefited. So instead of having this thing that was secluded out in the field, it incorporated the town. They had the colleges involved, they had the secondary schools involved, and so the word got out there and it had that community focus, and I think that's why it succeeded so well. So hopefully that approach, I think, could be taken similarly in other towns.
It is inspiring to hear that that's happening, you know, because it shows potential and it shows that it can work, and it's an interesting spin on it as well. So it was really cool, even for myself, to be able to learn a bit more about that. So hopefully Creelor 2026 will be another flyer, and hopefully we'll get the weather for it as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
Brilliant. And then, so you have released your second album, Divine Intervention. How would you describe this album in respect to your first? I know we kind of touched off a little bit that it is kind of different, so how would you describe that?
I love this. Again, there's a lot more upbeat tracks on this album. Again, it kind of derives, like there's a song on it called Shadow, and that talks about kind of diving into your shadow and your light aspects of self, and the kind of the battle between the ego and the heart, and again, processing the eating disorder and things like that. So that song was heavily inspired by that. There's other music as well related to a breakup, and there's, again, it's just kind of themes of spirituality. There's a song on there called There's No Shadows in Heaven, another one called Afterlife. So again, if anyone hadn't guessed, I was like exploring death. And this is the thing, I suppose, even going back to the funerals, you know, it make me appreciate life. But there's one song as well on it that was particularly as well inspired by a friend of mine that's sick. And we had a conversation about, you know, you never expect at such a young age to become unwell. But it makes you appreciate your life. It makes you realise, actually, you know, we have to go for these things while we're young. Because you never know with life. And I was totally touched by that. And that song's called Dreams. So a lot of people might listen to that and think, that's about an album where do dreams go when the love dies. It's not at all. It's about that conversation with that friend and realising that we have to, what happens to our dreams if we don't pursue them? Yeah. Do they just die with us, or do they... Yeah, so it's really kind of an emotional one for me. Even to perform it still, like, quite emotional, because I wrote it Christmas Day. It wasn't meant to be on the album at all. And it was that kind of a song that it just poured out of me. And yeah, I think, again, this album is kind of like, there's a song as well called Divine Intervention, which happens to be the name of the album as well, and it's almost like a ripple effect of all these different little aspects and of events that happened that felt like divine interventions for me in that moment. And yeah.
Okay, wow, that's absolutely incredible. And it's nice as well that you really take in what goes on around you and what happens to you and what happens to others around you, and I think you process it in a really beautiful way, and I think that really shows in the album as well. And having that kind of context, again, because I've listened to the album as well, of course, and it's, yeah, you're right in particular with that Dreams album. I would never have clocked that was about, but it is, yeah, it is exactly that. You know, it's really, really, really beautiful. I'm trying to get emotional. So then, this is now your second studio produced album. So describe to me the process of working in a studio.
I always laugh at this because I think, like, there's a lot of like ups and downs, and I think I've said this a few times on many interviews when you're in the studio, because it's like you're at the microphone, you're recording vocals, you're reliving experiences, and you're trying to put that into the music. Like when I'm recording, I'm not just going in there going, okay, I want to deliver such and such a vocal. I want to bring myself back into that experience as much as I can. And I suppose it is a little bit like an actor that goes onto the stage that tries to, like, I'm bringing myself into that space to give the most to the listener. So I just find it like, it's like therapy sessions. It's like going in and like, just like, and like, yeah. And then also, which also happened with the first album, is that I'd be going through an experience that I wrote the song about, and something else that would be a total different experience would resonate with that, and so the lyrics would mean something else then to me as well. So I kept having these experiences in the studio, and I guess learning a lot as well. And there was a few songs shelved as well on this album. Okay. Less than 6 on the first. I think it was about 3 or 4 on this one. But as I said, we went down a bit of a reggae route and we came back. We've discovered that, you know, if we go in there and we're talking about music at the time we're listening to, don't do that, because we'll end up going down that route. So I'm learning a lot. I'm getting a lot better at going, I have this idea, I think I'd like it this way, or I think that way, or I guess just learning. But I love the studio space. It's so creative, and I love watching all those elements come together. But yeah, it's difficult. I would say it's difficult too.
No, for sure. Yeah. And as well, you're also wrangling other people then as well. It's not just yourself going to the studio, it is backed by a band also. But no, that is an interesting process. I'm sorry, I'm laughing because I can't wait for your reggae album.
I'll have to send you a track off at Luke.
And look, you're clearly exceptionally busy. Between writing your own work, performing, recording, wedding bands, you're hosting your own radio show, which we'll come to in a minute as well. And everything you do always maintains a high level of quality. That's something that I've always noticed about what you do. It's always up there. Nothing's half-arsed. It's always, when it's out there, you can absolutely stand by it. But considering the undertaking of all that, is burnout something that you've experienced?
I don't like that word, Luke. Because I don't like it, because I have to confront it sometimes. But I think I'm getting a lot better at realising that although I have a lot of energy, sometimes actually even if I have the energy that day, I need to rest. So that's something I'm kind of like learning. Like I got sick recently for 3 weeks with bronchitis, and
That does not suit a singer.
it doesn't, because it takes your voice, so you're off air from presenting.
Oh,
So I
of
wasn't
course,
able to do the DJ thing. Couldn't sing, cancelled a few gigs, rescheduled weddings and everything. Got other people to sing for things, and yeah, I am someone who likes to go. There's no doubt about it. I am a bit of a free spirit there. I like to be going here, there, and yonder all the time. I love traveling. I love driving on the road. I'm always listening to things in the car. But I think what was interesting was, and I found this really strange actually, when I did get sick and I had bronchitis, lost the voice, I was put on antibiotics, and like I remember reading it, do not be in the sunlight with these antibiotics. I was like, this is really weird. So I had to like, be in the darkness.
Wow.
So not only was I like sick, couldn't sing and do anything, no energy, I also had to sit in the darkness. And I was like, this is bizarre. I was like, never saw anything like this. Wear sunscreen if you're out in the light with antibiotics. I was like, this is mad. I was talking to my friend afterwards, it was a doctor, and she was like, yeah, no, I've seen that before. I was like, this is bizarre. But I thought there was something in that for me to learn as well. Like, you're sitting in darkness for 3 weeks. It really makes you contemplate everything. So I was able to look at things going, actually, instead of doing 4 things that day, what if I just did the 2 and really focus my energy in them? And would I be more mindful when I'm in that, you know? So I have cut back a little bit, but also none of this is work for me. Like, I genuinely enjoy what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I'm not, like, I'm only kind of getting started as well. My goal is an album a year, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. And I'm going to keep pushing and striving for that. So it's a little bit like some people go and they do marathons. Like, that's my version of a marathon. And it really does put me through my tracks. But yeah, so I love this, and I feel blessed to get to do this. And I'm lucky to be alive. And I think that, you know, there's like we are in the 1% of the world. Like, there's so many things going on in the world, especially in war-torn countries and all those things happening. There's artists there too. Yeah. And they can't even think about this stuff. So I feel extremely fortunate and grateful to be able to pursue this and to have the opportunities and to live at home as well, that I can do all this. So yeah,
Yeah, okay, so it's an element of perspective for you as well, and a clear love of what you do. So I mean, when you said as well that you had to stay in the dark with antibiotics, which I never heard before myself.
No, it is bizarre. Yeah.
Was that a period where you could reflect and go, well, okay, even though you said that you do have a lot of energy, was that the moment where you're like, okay, well, if I do want to be able to keep this, if I do want to be able to keep firing all cylinders, this is how I avoid burning out for myself. It's, okay, let's just pare a couple of things back. Let's keep in mind that you're in this fortunate position. Was that period what kind of solidified that for you, or was this kind of something that you were toying around with already?
There's probably just 1 or 2 silly things that I was pushing myself with that I didn't have to. So it was unnecessary things, I think, that I didn't have to do. That maybe it's I'm going to stay up an extra hour and work on something. I actually don't need to do that. I
just go to bed.
better time planning.
Yeah.
I think a bit more structure. I downloaded something called Tasks on my phone, which I have found amazing, and like things like that. So it's just, for me, it's like I have a lot of friendships and I talk a lot to people and I'm always communicating. So maybe it's like 1 less phone call a day. So I have that extra hour to myself to just recharge and get my energy back. Yeah. So it's like little ways to restructure my day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, yeah.
Oh, cool. The reason why I do ask it is because it's obviously such an important topic anyway, because it does factor in things like mental health, and I've seen it as well myself where people that I've worked with no longer doing it anymore, and I haven't had the opportunity to work with people that I've seen because they're no longer doing it anymore. So it's something that can be quite, it can happen, I guess it can happen, but it doesn't happen to everybody. And that's why I think you're kind of an interesting insight into that, because not to say that you haven't necessarily experienced that kind of wave of it, but your ability to be aware of it and try and circumnavigate it, I think, is really important. So that's why I'm very interested and delighted to get your perspective on that particular topic. So thank you for that. As you did mention, you're also the host of your own radio show, Inspired Lives, on Ros FM. First, describe to me what that show is about.
So I suppose Ross, Inspired Lives, that show started back in 2021 or 22, I think 2021. Yeah, I think it's 2021 now. And it started off kind of just, how I got into radio was extremely random. I was being interviewed at the time by, probably shout out to Neve and Danny, presenters at Ros FM, and I had just opened the store in Ross Common, the flower store at the time. I had two, so it's kind of getting confusing about that, but about getting into that store as well. Yeah, they said, like, why did you set up your business? Will you come up to the radio and talk about it? So went up to the studio, and it was my first time ever being on in a radio station and being interviewed. And at the very end, they were like, have you ever considered, like, you know, presenting, or like, would you like to do your own show? And I was like, never thought about it. Like, I never considered, have I radio, I never questioned any of those things, genuinely. And I was like, God, I'd love that. I thought they were messing, kind of. They were like serious. And they were like, come in at Christmas, we'll be taking people on. So I went in, and then like within 6 months I had a job.
Wow.
So absolutely fell in love with it. But that show in particular, again, I bring on people that have lived interesting lives from all types. Like, for example, one that comes to mind is a couple called Aldino and Maya, and they're sailing magic carpet. And basically they are like on this, they've bought their own boat called Magic Carpet, and their plan is to sail around the whole world. So I've been following their YouTube channel for years, and I was like amazed by this, and I said, I wonder if I reached out to them and they respond. And they did, and they came on the show, and I was like, this is amazing. I've been like watching their journey, and now I'm on the phone talking to them. So like all these interesting people that I had been like looking up to and watching, I was able to like reach out. Sometimes you get the yes, sometimes you get the no, not interested. But I got to bring them on the show and hear their journeys. Another amazing guest I had on the show was Chris Willis. Chris, there's like a song, I don't know if you remember, David Guetta's song, There's No Getting Over You. Yeah. Yeah, so Chris is the singer for that. So he worked with David Guetta all his life, and, you know, singing music, and, you know, hearing his story and his journey, and like going from singing in gospel choir to singing around the world with David Guetta. So like talking to all these amazing, inspiring people, and I just, I've fallen in love with it. And now at the moment I went on, as we connected on Threads from Raise the Bar, and other musicians that I've connected on from there. Another one would be Jessica Jolia. She was on tour with Katy Perry and on tour with, you know, can't think of her name, it's gone out of my head now. But anyway, like, just blown away by these people that are not afraid to live their dreams. They're not afraid to go for things, and it's happening. But it started with them, and they had to believe in themselves. So that's, Inspired Lives is just about people that live inspired lives.
Cool, brilliant. Yeah. We discussed a little bit before about the actual process of doing that show, and I do think it's a bit interesting. So talk to me about that, from the production side of things as a presenter.
Yeah, so it's kind of fun because I'm producing, so I'm going out and researching, and finding the guests that I want to interview, finding the music, choosing the music for the show. Like, I'm in the studio, so I'm like doing all the faders, doing all the volumes, you know, selecting the songs, dialing in the numbers by hand. They're like, hi, hold a second, we're going live. And then, hi, you're tuned in. So it's like there's a lot kind of going on. And then you're watching the time. But I love it, like there's an adrenaline rush. Now, like, radio is changing all the time. Like, obviously with the technology evolutions, it's changing. Like, we have the old-fashioned, like the old school desk with all the faders. That's all changing now. Like, a lot of times they have like a small little square, and maybe there's only one fader to control, and there's someone out from the outside doing other things. So I love that element of it. But it's the people, and it's the stories. And God, there's so much to be inspired by. I think that's the other thing, is that if you're ever somebody who was kind of always in your inner world, it really brought me out of myself, and I'm fascinated. I'm just fascinated because people are so interesting. Everyone has a story to tell. I think that's the other side of it. Even that quiet person sitting in the corner has like had a fascinating life, and we just have to get it out of them and ask what happened. So that's what I love.
Cool. And then
what happened.
When is that show? Like, is it every week or?
Yeah, so it's every Thursday. It started off an hour, got extended to 2 hours, so I was really happy about that. So that means I bring more people on. Between 5 and 7 on Thursdays.
5 and 7 Thursdays on Ros Common FM?
Yeah,
Ros Common FM. Beautiful, beautiful. And then as well, it is also available on Spotify, isn't it?
Yeah.
The episodes are?
Yeah, people can listen back there. They can listen back on Mixcloud. Yeah, pretty much everywhere.
Because I've listened to a whole bunch of them as well. I absolutely love it, and I do think it's important for people to be able to check out that catalogue as well, so I'm sure we'll link it somewhere. So clearly lived a very, very busy and spirited life for sure. So from all the work you've done so far, and it's going to be a tough one, but what are some career highlights that stand out to you?
I feel like I've been lucky because I did a lot of stuff in a short space of time, but I learned a lot. Probably musically, or do you mean just in general?
Go musically.
Musically. Releasing the first album. And it was really strange because I thought on the day I released it I was going to be really happy, but it was actually really emotional. Like, it was a really sad day for me. I don't know why. Like, I looking back, I was like, what do you mean you were sad? I was like, I don't know. It was just like, it was a big part of my life and a big part of my journey, and releasing it out into the world just was like, you know, at first I was excited, but it was a really emotional day for me. And I feel like it'll probably be kind of the same with this album as well, because I talk, again, there's a lot of experiences that are personal, really personal. I think it's gone more personal than whenever I went in the first album. And I think that it's challenging me. There's a lot of growth that's coming from it, but that'd probably be two of my career highlights. Then I guess performing at the launch was another one. Yeah, there's been so many, but particularly the release days.
Yeah, of course. So there is that kind of, or it sounds like, at least, it's like the bird leaving the nest kind of moment.
That's it, yeah. It really is, yeah. Because you've been hoarding it inside and just listen to yourself. And then it goes out in the world and you're like, this is crazy. I could like listen to it on Spotify. This is mad. Yeah. So, yeah.
Cool. Thank you so much for your time today, Ciara. I really appreciate you coming down and discussing your life and your career with us today. But I do have one more question for you. What impact do you hope to have on future generations of artists?
I speak kind of a lot in terms of spirituality in this album, and there's a lot of kind of big aspects and philosophies I've kind of dived into. And I think the main thing I want artists to feel like as well, that in this world where sometimes you put art out into the world and you'll think you're a little bit alone with it, but I want them to know that they're not alone with it. There's people out there that need to hear it. I've had messages come in from since I've released certain songs, and I've people saying, you know, I had a parent going through treatment to listen to this song today and let them cry, or something like that. Or I've had a few people do covers of the songs, and I never thought that would happen. Like, it's just been crazy. So I think the important thing is that you're not alone. If you're in a school or something and you're struggling and you're not fitting in, know that like there's all of the artists. I don't think any of us really fitted in, and I think that was the whole point. I think, not to be cliche, but I think in some aspects we're kind of born to stand out, or maybe just be that little bit of that, you know, that strange kid. But I think there's a place for everybody, and I think the same with the music industry. If there's the biggest myth that I could derail, it'd be that there's such thing as competition. There's no such thing as competition. The only person you're in competition with is yourself. You're only limiting yourself ever. Nobody else is limiting you. So I think that's the main thing with this album, there's a lot of kind of things about mindset as well, I would say, in statements. So yeah, I want just people to believe that there's magic out there, and yeah, release your art into the world and allow that to happen. So
cool.
Yeah, that's everything.
Brilliant. Ciara, thanks so much. It's an absolute pleasure.
Thanks, Luke.
Thank you.
Standing in a tunnel, she was looking towards the light. Was it all just a dream, or was it really paradise? Trying to move forward 'cause she can't go back, afraid to lose control, afraid the dream will crack, with so much left unknown. So many places left to roam, so many plans and schemes. Now she's left wondering what'll happen to all her dreams. Where do dreams go when the love dies? Where do dreams go when the love dies? What happens to our hearts when they stop beating in time? Where do dreams go when the love dies? Saved so many lives, they don't even know her name. Didn't realize her power was not what caused her pain. If every saint teacher. Mistakes make the best teachers. So many things she never said are torn at the seams. Now she's left wondering what'll happen to all her dreams. Where do dreams go when the love dies? Where do dreams go when the love dies? What happens to our hearts when they stop beating in time? Where do dreams go when the love dies? Fade aside, it's you who's in the driving seat. Two hands on the wheel, the world is at your feet. Where do dreams go when the love dies? Where do dreams go when the love dies? What happens to our hearts when they stop beating in time? Where do dreams go when the love dies? Where do dreams go when the love dies? Where do dreams go when the love dies? What happens to our hearts when they stop beating in time? Where do dreams go when the love dies? Where do dreams go? Where do dreams go? Where do dreams go? Where do dreams go when the love dies?
Thank you for joining us on the artist journey. If you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to like and follow us to help support the growth of this channel and receive updates on future episodes. If you have any thoughts on what we discussed today, if there's any topics you'd like us to discuss in the future, or if there's a guest you'd just love to hear from, leave it all in the comment section. Bam! Receive updates on future episodes. Cool.
Do you want to do just one more?